Mogul Motivation, educating and empowering entrepreneurs 1 week at a time. Presented by True Stories Media. And I am your host, Antoine Twiz Taylor. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in to another episode. I'm happy that you are here. This is episode 151. If this is your first time listening, this podcast is for the aspiring entrepreneur who is trying to get over that hump and make things happen. This podcast is for anybody with a dream. So even if you're not an entrepreneur, I want you to understand that you can train your mind to think like an entrepreneur in your career or whatever goals that you strive for. As always, I ask for two things. Number one, if you find anything beneficial in this podcast, please bring me a friend, refer it to somebody else in your network that may benefit from it as well. And number two, leave a review. Those reviews are very crucial to the growth of the Mogul Motivation brand. Let me know what you love about the content. Let me know what you would like to hear in the content in future episodes. When it comes to business, you have assets and you have liabilities. And the main difference between the two is assets provide a future economic benefit, whereas liabilities provide a future obligation. So as an example, a car, if you own the title to that car, that's an asset because it provides a future economic benefit, meaning you can sell that car for money in the future if you choose to. Whereas if you pay a car note, it's a liability. You don't own the title to that car. So therefore, you have to pay an ongoing monthly payment, which is a future obligation. Those are the differences between assets and liabilities. And anything could be an asset. Equipment is assets. Property is assets. Money is an asset. Intellectual property. All of these things can be assets, but all of those things can be liabilities as well. So it's very important to understand the difference between those two things. But there is a forgotten asset when it comes to business, and that's what I want to talk about this week. We look at assets primarily as material things, primarily as things that are tangible, things that you can hold in your hand, things that you can physically touch. But it doesn't just stop there. There is a forgotten asset that all entrepreneurs must possess. It's a very broad, mysterious asset, a mysterious word, but we as people, we use it all the time. And the connotation for this asset ranges from religion to psychology and is usually regarded as a positive thing. That asset is humility, ladies and gentlemen. All entrepreneurs, all business owners, all leaders in business or whatever you do, we have to have humility. We have to be humble because you have to understand something. Success is not a byproduct of humility. Success is a result of humility. Humility is directly causative to success. It creates the path to success. Humility benefits successful business women and men from two angles, and I'm going to talk about these two angles very briefly today. Customer service and operations, the business infrastructure. You see, on the customer service side, if an entrepreneur, if a businessman or woman, if we think that we deserve a customer or a client's business just because of who we are, then we're most likely not going to work hard to earn that business. Regardless of how great our business is, regardless of what our reputation is or anything like that, if we ever get to the point where we're above someone's dollars, then that's a bad thing. Because subconsciously, it's going to affect our workflow. Subconsciously, we're going to become lazy. Subconsciously, we're not going to put our all into it. We're not going to be hungry like when we first started out. You cannot think that you're above someone's dollars. You cannot think that you deserve someone's dollars just because of who they are. We have to always be hungry. We have to always be humble when it comes to customer transactions. Because, see, if an entrepreneur is grateful for someone else's business, no matter how small or large the transaction is, we're going to focus on the customer or the client's experience with our business, opposed to focusing solely on the financial aspect. That's very important. It's not just about the money. Yes, we're in business to make money, but it's about solving a problem. It's about providing a service. Whether you sell a product or whether you provide a service, you're still in customer service. So it's all about being A1 on your customer service at all times, because it takes years to build a reputation, but it can just take one hiccup, one angry customer, one bad review to damage your reputation. Then you can lose money from that. You see how the money is always directly involved to how humble you are. So never forget that. Never think that you're above somebody's dollars. Never think that you deserve somebody's dollars. Always be grateful for every transaction, large or small, with any customer or client that you encounter. So that's how humility can affect our businesses and our firms on the customer service side. Now, on the operations side, the infrastructure, humility works as well, because you see, toxic and dysfunction in most businesses and organizations can always be traced back to trust and ego. And if you're the owner, if you're the leader of this business or this organization, it's always going to fall on you. Whether you were the catalyst or not, whether you were involved or not, it's going to fall on you. This is why it's so important that you instill a culture of humility in your business. And it has to start with you, ladies and gentlemen. You have to stop thinking that you're the smartest person in the room. Yes, you may be the visionary. Yes, you may be the founder. Yes, you may be the one that started this business, but you aren't the smartest person in the room. You're never going to be the smartest person in the room. If you want to succeed, that is. If you want to stay stagnant, then sure, be the smartest person in the room. Sure, still hold on to your ego. But if you want to elevate, if you want to scale your business, your brand, you can't be the smartest person in the room. You have to build relationships with people who are smarter than you in areas that you lack. So if you're great at financing, you need to find somebody that's great at marketing. If you're great at marketing, you need to find somebody that's great at management. You have to find people to build around you. You have to build a solid team, a dream team to take this business and this organization to the next level. But it has to happen if you're humble. You have to put your ego aside in order to do this. You have to work with committed people who put professionalism first. And if you do that, I promise you, you're going to create a healthy infrastructure of trust and character, but it all starts with you being humble as a leader. That's what it comes down to. Yes, the fancy cars, the big mansion, the private jet, the yacht, the business trips, all of these things will come. The $1 million, the $1 billion, the nice suits, the nice dresses, all of these things are good to have, but it means nothing if you're not humble. And the true test is going to come when you have all of those things. So while you're just starting out, while you're still in the beginning stages, yeah, it's easy to be humble then. But can you remain humble when you finally succeed? When you finally get to that mountaintop that we talked about for the past 3 weeks? Can you remain humble when you're up there? Can you still treat people at the bottom? Can you still treat the homeless? Can you still treat the janitor? Can you still treat the people who carry your bags and your suitcases with the same respect that you treat the people in a boardroom? Can you remain humble? That's what the true test is going to be, and that's going to reveal your true character. So that's my message this morning, ladies and gentlemen. We can't forget about this asset. It's a forgotten asset, but it's an important asset. It's probably the most important asset we're going to have as entrepreneurs. Humility. Be humble. All the time with all customers, with all employees, with all team members, everyone. We have to be humble. So let's continue to work. Let's continue to imagine reality. And never become arrogant. Never hold on to your ego. Put your ego aside. And once you put your ego aside, I promise you, you will succeed. That's my message this morning, ladies and gentlemen. Have a great day. I'll talk to you next week.